Right now, on to the point. 7 years after the Camp Fire destroyed the town of Paradise, survivors are still looking for compensation.
I just feel like that they shouldn't have dragged it out this long.
NBA gambling scandal.
The fraud is mind-boggling.
Players and coaches arrested in connection to sports betting and mafia-backed poker schemes. Balancing cost, climate, and demand. How the state is using alternative energy sources to help reach its carbon-free energy goals. And in our Champions of Hope, farm workers honored for their bravery after saving children from a burning school bus. Good evening, as always. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. As the 7th anniversary for the deadly Camp Fire in Paradise approaches, some victims say that they are still trying to rebuild, and many of them are waiting for a full payout from the Fire Victim Trust as part of PG&E's agreement to pay those impacted by the fire. As ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shares with us, one survivor is asking for more.
This was all that was left of Sydney Robinson's childhood home shortly after the 2018 Camp Fire in Paradise. The deadly fire killed more than 80 people and was caused by PG&E.
We spent all of our holidays, birthdays. I had both my baby showers there. You know, it was just like ground zero for us. It was everything.
She wasn't the only one in her family to lose a home.
7 family members in total lost their homes that day.
The Fire Victim Trust was formed in 2020 after PG&E filed for bankruptcy so that people impacted by the Butte, North Bay, and Camp Fires could submit claims to be compensated for the damages. PG&E funded the trust with $13.5 billion as part of the settlement agreement. Robinson says she's received 70% of the money owed to her, but it's done little to help her family.
7 years later, we're still waiting for these funds, and what they've been doing is giving us little bits by little bits by little bits.
Because of the slow payback, Robinson says she's been unable to rebuild her childhood home and is now forced to sell the land as seen in this Redfin listing.
If I had received all of my money at one time, I would be rebuilding on my family's lot. That lot was just put up for sale yesterday. And that's the most devastating thing about it.
Now, Robinson with other survivors are asking lawmakers and the governor's office to focus on legislation that would prevent PG&E from asking for a rate increase unless all fire victims have been fully paid, and requesting the Fire Victims Trust remain open with continuous investments going back to victims.
I just feel like that they shouldn't have dragged it out this long.
A representative for the trust tells ABC 10 so far $13.7 billion have been paid out to families due to the trust's sale of PG&E stocks, providing more than the initial $13.5 billion. The trust adds a majority of the victims have accepted a majority of their funds and that distributions are limited to assets provided to the trust in 2020, adding it's in the process of winding down the trust agreement. PG&E provided ABC 10 with a statement that says in part, it has funded the trust but does not play a role in making payments. In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
Now to a story that's really been making headlines. Current and former NBA players, as well as a head coach, were arrested in connection with 2 federal gambling investigations. Michael Yoshida has the story for us tonight.
This is the insider trading saga for the NBA.
Dozens, including several current and former NBA players and a coach, arrested in connection with years-long illegal gambling operations. Charges include money laundering, wire fraud, even armed robbery.
One of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States.
Prosecutors say 6 people, including Miami Heat player Terry Rozier, helped rig games with sports bettors. In one instance, they allege Rozier faked an injury.
Members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit.
Through his lawyers, Rozier denied any wrongdoing. In the second alleged scheme, prosecutors say 31 people, including members of 3 New York Mafia families, as well as Chauncey Billups, an NBA Hall of Famer and champion, and current Portland Trailblazers head coach, were involved in illegal fixed poker games held across the country.
Exploiting the notoriety of some and the wallets of many to fund the Italian crime families.
Prosecutors say victims, called Fish, were lured to play alongside high-profile athletes called face cards, and everyone but the victims was in on the scam, using rigged shuffling machines, poker chip analyzers, x-ray tables, and even special contact lenses and eyeglasses to read marked cards.
Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out.
The NBA says Billups and Rozier were immediately placed on leave from their teams as the association cooperates with investigators and reviews the federal indictments. President Donald Trump says that he is no longer planning to send federal troops to San Francisco in an effort to address crime. In a Truth Social post, Trump wrote his friends that live in the area told him to not go forward with the deployment. Trump also spoke with the mayor, Daniel Lurie, on Wednesday.
My team will continue to monitor the situation closely, and our city remains prepared for any scenario. We have a plan in place that can be activated at any moment. But as I said yesterday, it is my sincere hope that we never have to put that planning into action.
The news came after the U.S. Coast Guard said it would start backing up Customs and Border Protection agents at the Guard base in Alameda. These are the aerial shots of protesters marching through Alameda this afternoon. The Department of Homeland Security says it is focusing on capturing criminals in various cities. An official with DHS did not specify how the Coast Guard would be used. Still ahead on To the Point, a pilot program gave low-income families guaranteed income for a year. But was it successful? A look at the new research. And California's push to go 100% carbon-free. The innovations and challenges powering our clean energy future.
Temperature's going to stay in the low 70s tomorrow. Sunny, but then building clouds ahead of a system this weekend that's going to bring us showers to the capital region. We'll time it out on Futurecast after the break.
Another quiet day, but some changes are coming for our forecast. Let's get over to meteorologist Brendan Binchef.
Yeah, we're tracking a few things here. A couple of changes mainly coming this weekend. This first one, though, is a repeat of what we had today. Some more valley fog expected tomorrow morning. Temperatures remaining cool, though. Friday afternoon will be in the low 70s, then some 60s through the weekend. Those 60-degree temperatures this weekend, that is part of that pattern change. So cooler temperatures and rain for some. It will be a wet weekend for the North State and for the Coastal Range and the Sierra, but I'm only expecting some light showers in the capital region. Meanwhile, the San Joaquin Valley may stay entirely dry this weekend. We'll see that on Futurecast in just a minute. Made it to 73 today in Sacramento, 74 Stockton, 73 in Modesto. Right now, we're in the upper 60s and low 70s. If you're off to high school football practice, or if you're headed out later on this evening, no matter what it may be, you're going to want that light jacket with you if you're just out and about. Friday morning, you're going to want to continue. Keep that light jacket around. We're starting off in those upper 40s, low 50s. But again, that potential for valley fog, much like what we saw this morning, returns once again. So as we look at Futurecast visibility here, as early as about 1 o'clock in the morning, we could start to see some patchy fog that will become more widespread as we head through about 5 o'clock. This is now 6 o'clock in the morning, 7, 8, and you see widespread patchy fog across the valley. But for the most part, across the Sacramento Valley on Friday morning. Friday afternoon, back in those low to mid 70s, sunny skies, but clouds are going to build in late. So here's Futurecast. Clear skies and then some fog through the overnight, then some sunshine, a few passing clouds, but more clouds coming in as the day goes on. This is 8 o'clock, so some rain for the far northern part of the state, for the coastal range, for the north coast. That continues through Saturday morning, but you'll notice we're just not seeing that much in the capital region. We're staying very dry south of Sacramento. That continues through Saturday and for Sunday as well. So there are going to be some showers out there, but in terms of rainfall totals, we're talking about maybe 1/4 of an inch across the valley, and that is not that much. So will rain impact your weekend plans? If you're headed to the far northern part of the state or the coast, yes, it will. If you're highly sensitive to rain, perhaps you're doing chalk art this weekend, yeah, it's going to impact your plans in Sacramento. If you're just going to be out and about, not really doing much, you'll be just fine, just dodging a few sprinkles, Alex.
Okay, so no chalk art. Got it. All right, Brendan, thanks. Next on To the Point, from hydropower in the Sierra to solar over canals, the innovations and challenges driving California's clean energy future. And of course, our champions of hope, 2 men are honored for jumping into action when a school bus burst into flames. Welcome back in. Giving low-income families $500 per month for a year, no strings attached, significantly stabilized their lives. That's according to a new finding from a new Sac State report looking at guaranteed income pilot programs from United Way, California Capital Region. United Way, in partnership with the city of Sacramento, picked a random diverse group of 80 low-income families from thousands of applicants and gave them $500 per month during the fiscal year 2023 to 2024. A new Sac State report report compared the participants with a control group whose families did not receive funds. It shows funded families experienced measurable gains in financial stability, housing security, and food access. The study also showed many improvements held steady even 6 months after funding ended. Participants were not required to have their spending tracked. However, most opted to participate in a tracking program through partnership with Safe Credit Union. For those whose spending was tracked, this is what United Way looked for.
Are you spending it on housing? Are you spending it on food, groceries, those kinds of things, childcare, transportation? And what we saw is exactly what we would have thought, that those dollars were being spent on their basic needs in order to, again, help their household and their family.
United Way California Capital Region has other guaranteed income pilot programs. Leaders say they hope these positive results inform policy at the state level. All this week on To The Point, the ABC 10 Weather Impact Team is investigating California's power grid and how it's balancing cost, climate, and demand. Now, demand for electricity is expected to skyrocket. Last night, we explained how California is innovating its power grid. Tonight, meteorologist Rob Karlmark shows us how solar, wind, batteries, and hydropower are driving California toward its carbon-free energy goals.
California's dream of going 100% carbon-free by 2045 requires a delicate balance of generating enough clean, reliable power to meet rapidly growing demand. How is the state harnessing the sun, wind, and water to keep the fourth largest economy in the world flying high?
Well, it is a tried and true method going way back to the 1800s, right? Spinning a wheel with water. And for SMUD, it's vitally important.
High up in the Sierra, among lakes and wildlife, is infrastructure built to power big communities below.
It provides about 20% of our energy needs in an average year. It can go higher in our wetter years, and it allows us to provide that reliable, affordable energy solution.
The Sacramento Municipal Utility District, SMUD for short, runs 12 reservoirs, 9 powerhouses to provide hydropower to the Sacramento area. Using water to create electricity is the state's first large-scale source of renewable energy, and now helping power SMUD's even more ambitious goal of using 100% renewables by 2030.
It is the country's most aggressive initiative to reach zero carbon.
The SMUD powerhouses were built in the 50s and 60s and now can provide power at peak times in the late afternoon and early evening when it's in high demand and expensive.
Obviously, we're like others, can see the challenges of trying to balance between affordability and reliability. We want to keep our rates as lowest as possible.
SMUD is working toward its clean energy goals by stressing flexibility, generating power outside the area of its customers, and participating in the California Independent System Operator market to sell excess energy when it can. Then there's the sun. Almost 2 million homes in California now produce solar power, helping make it more abundant and cheaper than ever. Just this year, solar energy became California's largest source of energy, surpassing even natural gas. It provides more than 1/3 of the energy used in California, but only works when the sun is up, creating a natural energy imbalance. It poses a challenge half-jokingly called killing the duck curve. Now, according to CAISO, the traditional chart for energy usage starts at a normal rate, demand drops during the day, creating what looks like the belly of a duck. Then demand skyrockets as the energy hogs like air conditioners ramp up with the heat of the day, creating the head of the duck. Then it drops as the temperatures cool. One way to kill the duck curve is storing energy. Large-scale batteries have exploded in popularity within the last decade.
Well, just in the last 4 years, we've brought on over 20,000 megawatts of new generation on this system. So we are onboarding record amounts of new capacity.
In 2025, the state announced it is fast-tracking some of its largest projects yet, like the Darden Clean Energy Project in Fresno County, with more than 3 million solar panels and large-scale batteries on site meant to power 850,000 homes. And the Cornucopia Hybrid Project, expected to power up to 300,000 homes. It's a tricky balance and one that is always evolving. Solar is now being added over irrigation canals as an experiment to reduce evaporation. The Turlock Irrigation District, or TID for short, is already providing power.
we're the first, we're the oldest, and so a lot of times you don't associate that with trying new things, cutting edge, saying yes to projects. And for us, that's really in our DNA. We say yes to projects. We look at different solution sets for the challenges ahead of us.
One of the obvious benefits to this project is generating solar electricity from these panels, but many other benefits are being monitored and discussed and learned much more about, including how much evaporation from this canal can be prevented by these solar panels. That's being monitored by this equipment right here from UC Merced. TID got $20 million in a state grant to fund the project and has panels over narrow canals now. And if it works, it could cover the California aqueduct in the future.
It's a potential solution set because we're really going to need all of the above, right? To get to 2045, 100% carbon-free retail electric grid, we're going to need all options on the table. If you think about this, California, 40 million people, there's a huge power need.
Solar contract. Going green is not without controversy. For every benefit, there is a well-documented concern and pushback. Wind energy is successful and widespread in California, where it's got its start back in the 80s in the Altamont Pass area. A more consistent and untapped source of wind energy lies right off the California coast, where the wind is stronger and more consistent, but battle lines have been drawn by fishermen and coastal residents over proposed projects like those in Humboldt and Morro Bay.
We don't know, and we don't know what the cumulative impacts on not only fisheries, because that's one aspect of it, but the shoreside dependent users of that, the fishing communities, the marine ecosystem itself. If we're going to do this, let's do it right.
As the clock ticks closer to 2045, with battles continuing over clean energy, a big question remains. Will the state achieve its 2045 dream? Energy experts say despite big hurdles, it's possible. California is already pulling off proven, reliable milestones many thought were decades away.
Last year alone, California's grid ran on 100% clean energy for 219 days. Not every hour of every day, but the equivalent of 51 full days of 100% clean energy. If current trends hold as of this year, that number will increase to 80 days.
And Stanford researchers think California is on pace to run on 100% renewables all day, every day of the year by 2033. It's something California homeowners like the Harmons are staying cautiously optimistic about.
It's really important to think about the long-range goals because we've got a higher population than any other state, really. And that's a huge lot of customers.
And this is part of the ABC 10 Weather Impact Team special investigation, California's power struggle, balancing cost, climate, and demand. You can watch the full special right here tomorrow at 6:30 on To The Point, and it's also streaming now on our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. We're back after this break. We know that news stories are filled with challenges and hardships, but incredible things are happening every day. Tonight, we are bringing you a story out of Madera County where 2 farm workers are being honored for their heroic actions after rescuing students from a burning school bus. Please take a look at this video right now on your screen. The men were working in a field southwest of Madera back in September when they noticed flames coming from a school bus, and nearly 20 students were trapped on board when the bus wouldn't restart. But thankfully, these 2 men were in the right place at the right time.
Honestly, just saw the fire and we're like, you know what, it's best to get them out, make sure they're safe, and just make sure that they're safe. That's the main part.
For these gentlemen to have the fortitude and situational awareness to get these children off made a big difference in what could have been a very terrible outcome.
The Madera County Board of Supervisors presented Angel and Carlos with a proclamation recognizing their bravery and quick thinking. As always, thank you so much for watching and for always inviting us into your home. If you have something you think me and the team should be looking into, you already know you can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. I'll see you here tomorrow. And don't forget, you can always download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app to get the news anywhere you want, anytime.